Thank you. Maggie Braun, Ward 4, Peterborough. Good to be back. I have a background in ecosystem management technology and am the author of Gather 2030, a local newsletter designed to engage grassroots advocacy for the community. This evening's vote concerns the candidacy of Councillor De Guy for the Board of Directors of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. While we appreciate Councillor De Guy's commitment and passion to representing the city, we have some concerns that we feel are important to address. Established in 1937, the FCM has been recognized as a national voice for local governments, earning a high level of prestige over the years. However, the organization has shifted its priorities. In 1994, it released a municipal primer on the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, which emphasized the need to think globally and act locally. Again, to think globally and act locally. Today, the FCM website says that local solutions are the key to tackling national and global challenges. And secondly, it states that it is a national voice for local government. So we see it has reprioritized its interests. Secondly, it is essential to emphasize the significance of Section 92 of the Canadian Constitution, which places municipalities under the exclusive jurisdiction of the provinces. Last November, provincial premiers came together at the Federation, the Council of the Federation, and the premiers expressed united opposition against Ottawa's direct agreements with municipalities. The federal government's participation in municipal affairs through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities may have implications on the traditional roles of government, and if not, and it should be prudently examined before making any decisions that could further exacerbate this problem. The premiers are looking into legislative protections to prevent this from continuing to happen. Lastly, Canada has a governance system that consists of three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. One that creates the laws, the other enforces the laws, and the third interprets the laws. Additionally, there exists a fourth branch of government, the administrative branch, which handles administrative duties regardless of who is elected. This branch is comprised of civil service, private companies, consultants, unions, special interest groups, and these perform, again, their tasks regardless of who's in power. The FCM collaborates directly with the United Nations through kiclei Canada. Again, that's the International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives, which changed its name to Local Governments for Sustainability because it encompasses more than just environmental interests. It looks at other initiatives as well. So in partnering and collaborating with the United Nations, the FCM looks to augment the duties of the administrative branch, so our staff. And it also partners municipalities with United Nations focused NGOs like Sustainable Peterborough. So as a result, the UN can essentially bypass the government branches and legislative limitations, enabled to implement its agenda. And this is a potential concern even for our national security, and it is currently being investigated. It is under investigation. So therefore, we recommend that the Council of the City of Peterborough, respectfully decline Councillor De Guy's endorsement to run for a position on the FCM board at this time. We would like to assure the councillor that our recommendation is in no way a reflection of his commitment or qualifications. We simply will, oh, thank you. Again, thank you, yes. We just believe it's in the best interest of our city not to further involve ourselves at this time in national and international interests. And if the council does choose to endorse Councillor De Guy's candidacy, we kindly request that he would bring our concerns to the attention of the SEM board and respectfully urge them to reconsider its shifted priorities. And it is our sincere hope that they will prioritize Canada's local interests and national sovereignty moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Leal. Thank you, Maggie, for being here. And I just had a couple of questions. Are you familiar with the Canadian Teachers Federation?
I haven't. I do have people that are looking into that one, but I'm not as familiar with the educational aspect.
Okay, and what about the Canadian Labour Congress?
No, I haven't. I'm hyper-focused on the municipality right now.
Okay, so my questions have to do with why is there concern for a national voice for a local municipality when those two organizations I mentioned are voices, national voices for teacher locals? The CLC is a national voice for local labor affiliates. This isn't a jurisdiction in the sense of government. So I guess, can you explain to me why is there concern for a national body being there for the voice of municipal locals? Because they're not a governing body, they're an organization. Thank you.
Through the chair, thank you for the question. So the concern is that it was a national voice for local government, but now it seems to be advocating for international interests at the local level. So there's been a switch and a flip in that. And there are UN directive programs working with the unions and the Federation of Teachers. I forget exactly the name of that. There's many different organizations like the FCM that the United Nations is directly offering programs to, and that is why we see changes in our school system and in our curriculum as well.
So you don't disagree that the UN is effective and important then on an education level?
Through the chair, it's definitely been effective in utilizing the administrative branch of government to implement its agenda. I'm not sure that that is in the best interests of our local municipalities or families or children or the education. Again, I'm focused on the municipal level and how this affects our small towns, our cities, and the growth that we experience here and so on. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's enough. Thank you.
Any further questions? Any further questions? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Susan Chiddix, please. Welcome, Susan. If we could get your name and address for the public record. You'll have 5 minutes to make your presentation. At the end of 4, we'll give you the 1-minute warning.
Okay, thank you. I'm Susan Chiddix in Ward 4, Peterborough. And I would like to thank the Mayor and Council for their significant service in their role as the public's representatives and extend my gratitude to the CAO, the commissioners, and city staff for their hard work in administering the city's day-to-day operations. We are blessed to live in a democratic country which bases its decision-making on meaningful public engagement. Our national and local network is dedicated to ensuring global priorities do not overshadow local interests and the Canadian way of life. The election of a council member to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, or FCM, raises concerns. We believe it is important to carefully consider all aspects of this appointment and evaluate how it may affect our city's future. The FCM has gone from being a national voice for local governments to promoting progressive policies aimed at achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These include Agenda 2030 and Net Zero by 2050 targets, which require significant adjustments to the lifestyles of the residents of its member municipalities. Our report includes a full list of FCM programs. The Green Municipal Fund is a $1.7 billion fund for sustainable development. The Municipal Asset Management Program requires the municipal asset manager to prioritize sustainable development. The Municipalities for Climate Change Program and equality programs are followed by a long list of international programs. Lastly, they have a program called the Partners for the Climate Protection Program and the Global Covenant of Mayors. These programs are all focused on reaching the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. One can't help but wonder, where are the programs to address issues such as safe drinking water, local roads and bridges, or the programs to promote small town growth, single-family homes, family-owned farms, playgrounds, and community centers? Not that these are totally absent, but my point is about the priorities. Where are the programs to address the urban crisis, homelessness, mental health, drug addiction, and the lack of housing? These are the programs municipal government should be prioritizing, and these programs should not be tied to international or ideological interests. Canada is home to 0.5% of the world population and is the second largest country in the world. Our land is vast and rich in resources, capable of providing security and prosperity to all who live here. However, widespread local challenges like housing may be the result of programs like the Partners for Climate Protection Program, which is a net zero program funded by kiclei, whose founding documents recommend that local governments restructure human society and human settlements. The City of Peterborough funds and participates in this program through Sustainable Peterborough, which implements and tracks Peterborough's progress toward the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Recommendations. As the Council determines its legacy and future of our community, we recommend that the Council respectfully decline Councillor Dugai's endorsement to run for a position on the FCN Board of Directors, and that Council carefully reconsider its partnership with Sustainable Peterborough and its participation in the FCM kiclei Partners for Climate Protection Program, and that Council consider reallocating funds from Sustainable Peterborough to local councillors to engage with residents and groups unaffiliated with kiclei. And to support these recommendations, a number of residents of the City of Peterborough and surrounding area have attended tonight's meeting in person, and hundreds more are watching from home through live stream channels. We trust the Council will represent the public's interests accordingly.
Susan, thank you very much for your presentation. There could be questions. Questions for Susan? No questions for you? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, I would ask